Hey, welcome back to another fun-filled and informative episode of Finnegan's Garage. That's a lot of F's. We'll keep going, though. We're talking engines today, specifically engine blocks and cylinder heads. I've got an engine build waiting in the wings to happen. I've convinced my good friend Jeff that in his life he needs a 598 cubic inch Chevy big block, all aluminum, Dominator carb, badass man-sized engine.
Manly engine.
Yeah. And I've told him that we could make 1,000 horsepower at about 7,500 RPM. You never know what you're getting out of a gas pump, so I'm going to push the compression up a little more because he has access to race fuel. And I believe it's cheaper to buy race fuel than it is to buy a new engine after you rattle yours to death on really crappy 91 octane California gas. So I've got new parts over here, but before we go to the new parts, let's talk about old parts. We're going to compare this old cast iron big block Chevy to the brand new Brodix aluminum block I've got over there. And so Daniel Boshears is here, master engine builder, engine master participant, and model. It's a nice shirt.
Yeah, it is nice. I like it.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It's almost as nice as the new shirt. Look at the plug right here. See how I just slid that in there?
Right in
Brand new FSM shirt. That'll buff out. Can I zoom in on that? Let me try. Let me use the remote. Can you see the shirt here? This is going to be a good moment. So if you look closely, that is the ramp truck with blasphemy on the back of it, and the whole front end is exploded. Mm-hmm. Everything. You can see pistons. And that'll buff out, which is,
why wouldn't it?
I believe that. Yeah. Anything can buff
out.
You throw enough zip ties and money at it, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's talk about this. This is your garden variety, standard bore space, standard deck height, big block Chevy. It's a 9800 deck height block. How big was this? What bore was this?
It was a 4094. It's a 67 396. So.
Ooh, vintage.
Yeah.
Muscle car engine.
Fancy stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you've ever tried to pick one of these up, you'll understand why we like aluminum.
Mm-hmm. And, not having a blown out back. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to be that guy. You've seen that video on the internet of the guy that's picking stuff up and he literally just blows out his bottom end right there. Literally blew his ass gasket out because of the weight he was lifting. So, yeah, cast iron,
awful.
Really neat, and you can make good power with cast iron, but a block like this, you're limited to how far you can bore it, and you're limited to how much crank you can stick in this thing in terms of stroke. It just weighs a lot, man. And good luck finding one of these.
Yeah,
you're not walking into your scrapyard these days and finding a junkyard 4-bolt main, 454,
Or 2-bolt main or any
main.
cast iron. Yeah, any cast iron.
Good luck.
Piece,
There's no more mains. Yes.
They're in China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to weigh this thing, find out how much it weighs. We've got a pair of assembled cylinder heads over there. We're going to throw those on there, find out how much this thing weighs, and then we're going to bring in the aluminum and weigh the aluminium. This is exciting.
I know.
Yeah. Have you ever weighed any of this before?
I've never weighed any of this. I'm guessing 200 pounds. That's my guess.
I think more. So that block over there, which is a Brodix standard bore space, standard deck height Chevy, is going to weigh about 135 pounds or less. This is going to be like 250.
You think it's 250?
Yeah. This
is
heavy.
We need to put this on the marker board. We need to go ahead and do our projections.
Oh, let's do that right here.
Where's our chalk?
Where's our concrete?
Our concrete
I got kids. Let's get chalk.
Chalk.
We'll be right back. Yeah, we need chalk.
Okay. You got kids.
I got kids.
Yeah.
And you know what kids have? Chalk.
Because chalk is what we need. Ooh,
Shaped
chalk
like
eggs.
Eggs. Look at that. We can go OG status.
Yeah. Green.
Actually, that's the OG.
Orange.
Skinny chalk.
Yeah.
Or the fat chalk or the egg.
Ooh, I want the blue chalk.
All right.
Blue chalk for me.
Blue. I'll do green.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, OG.
Okay.
UB Brodix. OG.
Mm-hmm.
Mike is guessing 250 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And Boshears is guessing, what did you say, 200?
Yes, 200.
200 pounds. And then here's our actual after we find out.
So now we're going to go M. B and A.
I'm going to go 130. What are you going to guess?
I'm
Now that
going-
I've given away, you know.
127.
Oh, you had Price's Right strategy.
That's right.
Damn you. You should have just put 1 pound. Yeah, getting a scale that'll hold 1,000 pounds, not cheap. So I want you to appreciate what we've done here for you. That's not cheap. And this is all in the name of science.
Right. Engine science.
Where else are you going to get that on a bargain basement budget garage show?
I'm betting it's not even 200 pounds.
Yeah, 250 seems heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I'm thinking
200.
less than 200.
No, it's got to be... It's over 200 pounds.
Okay.
It's a shitload of cast iron.
Yeah, it is. But it's still one of the
It's
lightest.
got to be 100 more than that aluminum block.
It's
And
one of the lighter big blocks ever made, though. Oh, wow. We need power tools.
They're noisy. I got a baby upstairs.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You know what else is noisy? Baby upstairs.
Yeah.
Don't want to wake up the baby.
Ha! I win.
Not fair.
On the nose. But not nearly as heavy as I thought it was going to be. And I've never seen anyone do the test, which would be to build 2 identical motors, down to 1,000th of an inch, deck height, bore, everything. I've never seen anyone do that, and the only difference being the blocks.
We should try to do that. We have that.
That's an expensive test.
I know, though. But I bet there are people out there that would really want to see that done.
The problem with doing that, though, is you're going to build an aluminum engine that you really don't want. Like take this for example.
Mm-hmm.
The bore has to be the same size. I don't want to take a big block Chevy and stuff a liner in it for a bore this small.
No,
and you
wouldn't
can't
do
bore
that.
this as big as you'd want in your aftermarket aluminum.
Well, if you had an aftermarket block supplier that, like GM or somebody that wanted us to build 2 big blocks that were both 500 cubic inches.
All for the sake of finding out an answer that
There's
3
four,
people
there's,
care
if,
about.
if there's 40 horsepower difference in the 2 of them.
These are heavy. So this is just because we want to know how heavy the block and the heads are together. There's no head gaskets on. In fact, this isn't even sitting down on the block surface correctly. We don't care. This is just to keep the head from falling on the floor when we weigh it. Any guesses?
Heads are about 90 pounds apiece. I believe we're going to add about 170 some odd pounds because casting different.
You're saying 170 pounds. Or 90 pounds.
178 pounds.
I think we're gonna add. We're gonna add 160 pounds to this right now. That's loose. That's loose. 342 pounds. So we were at 201 before. So we gained 200. We gained 141 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So each cylinder head, cast iron, is about 70 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's heavy.
Yeah, it is.
So this is 342 pounds. There's nothing inside this block. No pistons, no crank, no rods, no bearings. The engine in that C10 that you saw in episode 23 weighed 100 pounds more than this.
Total.
And it had a supercharger on it, dude. So, yay aluminum.
Yeah.
Wow. Taking the weight off. Okay. This is the look of a man who just won something.
That's me.
Because if you come over here,
200 pounds.
both shears, Said the OG block would be 200 pounds, and it was 201. You just won. What are you going to do now?
I'm going to Disney World.
Solid.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go get the aluminum stuff.
Yeah, let's do that. First, let's take this back apart.
All right. All right, Finnegan, 8B2000C. That's the part number, 9800 deck height, 55 millimeter cam tunnel for roller bearings. And I don't know what that stuff is, but that's a 903 lifter diameter.
Yeah.
Isn't that a Chrysler lifter diameter?
Yes.
903?
903 is Chrysler.
Chevy guys
And
upgraded.
AMC.
Chevy guys upgraded Chrysler stuff when they don't want their lifters to explode.
Yeah.
So this must be main caps. And look at that.
Beautiful.
Look at that. Now this should be rough board to like 459, so we can finish it at 460.
Okay.
Should be. We need to measure that, but
Yeah, we can do that.
But this is light. This you and I can just I can just pick up. You take these. I'll get this. Okay.
Ah.
There we go. Look at that. We just picked up an engine block. Got anything I can put this on?
Yeah. Ta-da.
201 pounds. Actual weight, very close. Oh, Shears, winning at life today. Now, here's the question. What does this weigh? Because this is brand new A356 virgin aluminum.
Wow.
I don't know what that is. I don't. But
It's virgin.
virgins are good, so that's the kind of aluminum you want.
Yeah.
Let's see. Brodix will finish machine this for you, or you can order it rough and do it yourself. That includes the line hone, the lifter bores, the cylinder bores. Hell, they'll even half fill the block with concrete if you want, or hard block, or whatever you call that stuff. You can order this in a variety of deck heights, all the way up from 9/800 inches, which is what this is, on up to 11 5/8 inches, which is monster. You
That's
got
big engines.
Oh, dude, long rod, big stroke. And speaking of stroke, if you get the optional raised cam location in this block, which is what this has, you can stick a 5-inch stroke crankshaft in here.
Wow.
Yeah, big inch, big cubes.
Big stuff.
We're not doing that. We're going to put a 4.5-inch stroke crank in here, and we're going to go with a 4.600 bore. So we ordered this rough machined at 4.59 inches, yielding a combination that will be 598 cubic inches, right around there, depending on how things finish out. And then we'll stick whatever rod fits in there. I'm not huge on rod stroke ratio, especially in something that doesn't run very long, like a drag boat or, well, hell, I'm just not big on rod stroke ratio. I know piston speed is an issue, but I think this particular combination, there's enough of them out there running that are not ripping the bottom of the piston apart that we're probably okay. Billet steel main caps, and the middle ones are splayed, which is nice. Very strong, don't move around very much, which I like. You can see Brodix has already rough cut the sleeves for us. We'll have to go back in there and massage those a little more to fit our crankshaft in there.
It's light enough.
Oh, it's light enough. It's light. Let's find out how light.
That's right.
Got a wrench?
What kind of wrench you want?
The kind that takes these bolts off.
Yes.
Ratcheting.
Ratchet wrench.
Because once again, baby's sleeping.
That is true.
Look at you with the 12 points.
Hey,
Man.
first class all the way.
You see that? We upgrade to aluminum, he upgrades the fasteners. Header bolts?
Oh, your bolt bin. Actually, I don't know.
Header bolts. I don't know why, but I have magic bolt bins, which every person should have in life. And that's the bolt bin where you just throw everything that's left over from a project, because you will need it later. You will need that one random 6mm bolt that's at the bottom that you didn't even know you had. Someday that'll work for something. That means that there's very little difference between a 9/800 deck height, Brodix aluminum block, and a 10-200 deck height Brodix aluminum block. Because the last one I measured, which was a 10-200, came in at 134 pounds on my wife's bathroom scale.
Mm-hmm.
And this is 136 on this really precision expensive scale. Mm-hmm. This saves about, what do we got, 65 pounds difference between aluminum and cast iron.
Wow.
This weighs slightly more than some of my girlfriends in college.
Mm-hmm. At least you had girlfriends in college.
Okay. I have nothing positive to add to that. These are much lighter.
Mm-hmm. A lot lighter than cast iron.
Definitely. Okay. These are Brodix new SR20 conventional, well, quote-unquote conventional style Chevy heads.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 20-degree valve angle for the intake, which is, not that different than some of the other ones that are out there, but the exhaust port, the intake port is raised up half an inch and extended this way towards the intake manifold. So this is a 440 cc intake port, which is giant.
Wow.
And according to Brodix, if you get their full CNC program, at 900 lift, it flows 505 CFM on the intake, and 335 on the exhaust, which is just unheard of. 218 pounds. Woo! So let's compare. The cast iron version of this, which is never going to make as much power and was only 396 cubic inches,
Mm-hmm.
weighed 342 pounds. This is going to displace 598 cubic inches, and this only weighs 218 pounds.
Yeah.
Now remember, there's nothing in here. The heads are assembled, but there's no push rods, no camshaft, no lifters, no rocker arms, no crankshaft, pistons, connecting rods, rings, bearings, all that stuff. That's all out of here. But pound for pound, the old cast iron versus the new aluminum, when you don't factor in price, doesn't even compare. What we need to do now is measure a few things so we can order those pistons.
Mm-hmm. That's possible.
Yeah. Or eat tacos. I'm kind of hungry. Let's go.
I kind of like
Let's
tacos.
Let's do that. The heads came assembled with 10-degree retainers and locks, a set of valve springs for a roller cam that's spec out as follows: 1.645 diameter. They're installed at 2/100 inches. They yield 315 pounds of closed seat pressure and 915 pounds of open pressure. And according to Brodix, these springs are good for a cam with up to 850 thousandths of lift. This is the bottom side of Brodix SR20 conventional style Chevy cylinder head. And it features 95 cc combustion chambers. Nice heart shape there. It's a 2/400 intake valve and a 1/800 exhaust valve. It does include those extra head bolt bosses that can be used in the lifter valley of this big block Chevy. Aftermarket blocks usually have those, which is nice. What else? You have fairly decent access to the lifters through the middle of the cylinder head there if you wanted to be crazy and pull the valve covers off and try to get lifters service without pulling the intake off. It is possible in some cylinder heads to do that. These you probably could with a coat hanger or some tool you fashion yourself in there. With an aftermarket cylinder head that has a big exhaust port on a big block Chevy, you'll see right there, it's actually a hole in the wall of the exhaust port, and that is for the head bolt. And a lot of times you get these monster exhaust ports in cylinder heads, and you'll have things like head bolts breaking through, or in a spread port Chevy head, a lot of times the push rods will break through into some of the intake ports, and not the end of the world. I'm not a fan of it on the intake side, but on the exhaust side, it's not that big of a deal because, especially in this Brodix block, the head studs are going in blind, so they're not going to leak out the bottom, and then up top you've got a washer on the head stud and a nut, and you're really not going to leak anything there. But we'll probably throw some sort of sealant on the head studs where they meet the passage in the hole there. This stuff is light and it's pretty, but I don't know exactly what we have our hands on here. And before I can go order the rotating assembly, we need to verify the bore size and the deck height of this block. Because what you don't want to happen is to order pistons that are, say, 4.5 inches in diameter, and then go to install them in your block and find out the bores are 4.6 in diameter. That'd be a little sloppy. It'd be like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. Now, bore size, that's easy. I've done that a bunch of times. What I've never done is verify the deck height of an engine without a bunch of expensive equipment. So, he's going to school me right now. So my assumption is you're going to measure from the deck down to the bore, and then add half the diameter of the bore to the measurement, and that'll give us the deck height, assuming this thing is square, which we don't know. We know we're going to go in here and have this decked again to make sure it's square, so is that basically the gist of it?
That's exactly what we're going to do. Looks like we got about 8 inches, 450 thousandths.
All right, and that's to the top of the bore.
That is from the top of the main bearing housing bore to the deck.
So now we need to measure the diameter of the main bearing housing bore, cut it in half, and add that. So these are ballpark measurements. I notice you're not using like a dial bore gauge or anything super accurate here.
No, because this housing bore diameter hasn't been set to spec yet. We are 2 inches 930. We need to take half that diameter, which is going to be 1 inch 460.
And we're going to add 1 inch 460 to the number you had before, which was what?
2.93 divided by 2 equals 465 to be exact. That's 9 inches 915 thousandths.
So it's taller than the advertised 9/800 deck height.
That is correct.
Good. That gives us plenty of stuff to machine off.
That's right. And also we can get a little more room between our oil rail and our wrist pin.
Yes, we'll be able to put taller pistons in this, or a longer rod should we desire, because this combo has a poor quote-unquote rod stroke ratio. It has a 4.5 inch stroke, but with a 9/800 deck height, you're talking a really short rod, like 6/500, somewhere in that area.
6/530. Something.
So you could put either a longer rod in there or a taller piston. 124 pounds saved, and a lot of money spent. Yes, but it is a lighter engine that will make more power, and that's all that really matters. So, Bo Shears showed us how to ghetto fabulous with nothing more than a pair of calipers measure our deck height. And granted, there's a little margin of error there, but given what we're doing, it's fine for now. He got a deck height, the measurement of 8.450 inches. Now this is measured from the deck down to the top of the bore for the main bearing. Then he measured the diameter of the main bearing bore, cut that measurement in half, which ends up being 1.465 inches, adds that to the original measurement, and that gives us a measurement from the top of the deck down to the crankshaft centerline. That's your deck height measurement. That's what everybody goes by. When you order pistons or you call a machine shop, that's the number they're looking for. Now, Chevy big blocks, standard ones, have an advertised deck height of 9.80 inches, and that's what this block is advertised at. But it's left tall so that you can go back there and machine it or square it up. Ours ended up being 9.915 inches tall, which is pretty tall. I'm fine with that, because we can put a taller piston in there, we can put a longer rod, there's a lot of things we can do, we can deck the block, there's a lot of things we can do. This leaves us room for error, and now allows me to order a piston as soon as I know how big the bore is in the block. Alright, Bo Shears.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing they're not all the same.
No.
Give me the smallest and largest bore you've measured in this block.
Okay. We're at 4.588, 4.586, 4.586, 4.582.
You still have to hone this. This is a rough bore, which is why he's measuring it with calipers and not a dial bore gauge. So don't freak out at home at the tools we're using. This block is going to get a lot of work done to it before we actually assemble things. We're going to tell our machine shop to hone these cylinders probably 2 thousandths bigger than the largest one. And we're going to call our piston manufacturer, in this case it's going to be CP Pistons. We'll tell them we want 4 thousandths, 4.5 thousandths piston to wall clearance, and they will machine a piston exactly 4.5 thousandths smaller than that finished bore. If you don't have confidence in your machine shop or your measuring skills, have the engine finish honed all the bores, then measure it with a dial bore gauge, then order your pistons. We're not going to do that because everybody in here is just like an expert.
That's true.
There it is. We've measured the bore. We've measured the deck height. We know how much all of this stuff weighs. It is time to go order parts. And next time on Finnegan's Garage, you won't see this again because the parts won't be here by then. Hell, I don't know what I'm working on next, but it'll be something fun. And thanks for watching.
Thank you. Because our people said that caliper can't be close. So do we want to show that we checked the caliper?
Sure. Let's go the extra mile. It's not like I'm supposed to be putting up Christmas lights or loading blasphemy on the truck or anything else going on today.